And good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. My name is Bringi Dev, and I'm part of the Center for Management Communication here at IIMB Bangalore. Thanks very much for taking time off on a Friday afternoon to join us in the CenComm Connect webinar series. We're delighted to have you here, and we hope that your afternoon will be both useful as well as enjoyable. Our speaker this afternoon is Ms. Aruna Gopakumar, and I'd like to just quickly give you a short introduction to Aruna. I have personally known Aruna since 1993. She's an alumna of IIM Bangalore. She and I worked together in IBM India. After that, okay, no, my mic is not off. Great. It's possible that some people are experiencing momentary loss of audio. Please check your audio. My mic is working very well. I'm going to move ahead and restart actually. I was introducing Ms. Gopakumar and was telling you that I have been acquainted with her since 1993. She's an alumna of IIM Bangalore, and she and I worked together in IBM India. Aruna has served as an instructor with the Institute for some years now. She has run programs for students as well as for the faculty here. Most of all, I know Aruna to be an outstanding person and a person really dedicated to her profession. Aruna launched Navgati, a very unique training organization, in 1999 after distinguished service in both IBM India as well as Sasken Technologies. By way of background, Navgati is a reputed provider of innovative and impactful learning experience and has worked with more than 500 organizations across all industries. Navgati offers over 70 customizable learning options in the area of people leadership, coaching, communication, personal effectiveness, and facilitation. By her estimation, Navgati has positively influenced over 100,000 people through their interventions and currently add 15,000 people to this number every year. That's very impressive number, and I'm sure that she's been able to positively impact people's lives. Aruna's topic today is powerful language, and I'm confident that her sharing her experience and knowledge with us will certainly impact us positively. Aruna, thank you very much for taking all the time and trouble to be with us this afternoon. Really appreciate you being here. And now I hand over this webinar to you to take forward. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Bringidev. I think those were really kind words, and I'm very honored to be invited to do this webinar. Yeah, and I think I just value this association with you and with the Institute immensely. And one more time, I'd like to state that this is an honor for me to do this, and I'm delighted. And if it's okay, we can get started now. I think we are 70 of us on this call interested in making our language powerful. Now we are working in a webinar format. I cannot see you. The only way for you to interact with me is through chat, and please keep posting your questions on chat, and I will pick some of the questions and respond to them. And if there is there are pockets in the session where we will ask for interaction, and I will request the admin to unmute the group at that time so that you can respond to some of the statements that I have on the screen. So we will have as much interaction as possible in this 1 hour that we have together. So I'll get started. So what attracted you to this session was the title, Powerful Language. We all want to sound powerful and influence people with our word choices and our sentence structure. This session really focuses on the content of our communication. It's not focused on our tone, our gestures, our expressions. It's really the words we choose and how we choose to string them. And how I have defined powerful language for this session is powerful language is confident. It inspires trust. It invites positivity. It's concise. It uses the fewest possible words without changing the meaning of what is being communicated. It is precise. It's concrete. It's accurate. It's vivid. It creates imagery in the minds of the listener or the reader. And it is exciting. It's engaging. It draws your listeners or your readers to you. So your word choice is not stale or cliched, or you don't use vague or empty phrases. Each sentence has substance. And you would see that all of these are not watertight, separate characteristics. So if you make your language precise, you will end up being concise and you will sound more confident. And precise language is often vivid. So you'll see that these are overlapping areas, and all of these together make your language powerful. And what we will do today is look at techniques that allow us to work with our language to make it powerful. These are accessible techniques that I have chosen. If you recognize this in your language, it's not easy. It's not difficult for you to make these changes. Of course, the list is not comprehensive, but this is a great start. So I'm presenting to you 10 techniques, that allows you to make your language powerful. So it invites you to recognize some elements that make your language weak and eliminate them, and include some elements that make your language strong and include, so I'll talk about each of these. So overall, in the 1 hour that we have, these are the 10 techniques that you will get introduced to. So can I invite admin to unmute for 2 or 3 minutes? So I'm going to show you a sentence. With this large opportunity and our superior technology, I think that our company is well positioned for growth. Can you tell me actually we can mute, we can work with chat. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to the medium.
That's a noise.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So with this large opportunity and our superior technology, our company is well positioned for growth. So just these 2 words, I think, can significantly weaken our sentence. And this word is called a hedge. So what's a hedge? And here I'm sharing with you other hedges, just my opinion. I just wanted to say you may want to try. I believe just an idea, I feel. So what's a hedge? A hedge is something that you can hide behind. And when you use hedges in your sentences, it sounds like you doubt yourself. And when you want to do a job of persuading another, the more confident you are, the more effective you will be in persuasion. If people experience you as not having faith in your own ideas, they will not be able to trust what you say. So hedges take away from your confidence. So here's another example. Will someone like to take a shot at removing all the words that weaken this? May require a bit of keying in on your part. Okay, so yes. So all the, yeah, fantastic. I think everything before the word women can be eliminated. And there are multiple hedges, yeah? And there are some hedges that are minimizing, because we many times use language that's self-deprecating, that takes away our power. I think when the chat is on, I'm not able to. So this is the concise sentence, far more powerful than the one above. Women undermine their credibility by using minimizing language. Are you familiar with some of the other minimizing phrases? I may be wrong, but am I making sense? Yeah? All right. So I have some exercises for you. If you would like to take advantage of this offer, call our toll-free number. Can you take off the hedge and still make the sentence sound confident and sensitive? So if definitely is the word that weakens, call our toll-free number to take advantage of our offer. Or to take advantage of this offer, call our toll-free number. Well done. I know you're a busy person, but we would really enjoy hearing you speak. Is someone trying that? We would enjoy hearing you speak. Really is also an empty word, so that was good spotting. So we don't have to be apologetic about our asks. If people are not willing to give us what we want, that's okay. But the moment we come in with an apologetic tone, we are diminishing our power. I'm sure you will agree that our offer is reasonable. Who wants to try that one? Yeah, so many of you have said our offer is reasonable. Yeah, and then the specifics that explain why the offer is reasonable. It gives you the same benefits as other products as in the market at a 10% lower rates. So I have a statement here from Subhanshuk. Yeah, is it apologetic or is it being differential to a person? It does put you in a lower position than the other. It's a choice. You have to decide whether you want to make that choice. Yeah, so it may be easier for the other person to refuse your offer if you make yourself smaller, and you can still show your respect in the tone and other ways in which you conduct yourself. There's another question around hedges. Let me see if I can read it. But doesn't the use of hedges seem to acknowledge the other person? So all of these are choices. Yeah. You can decide to use a hedge if you want to sound tentative, or if you want to make the other person more important. But if you want to increase the power of your own communication, drop the hedge. Recognize if the hedge is really making the other person important, or is it communicating self-doubt? So use some judgments and choose your language. These are all heightening your awareness to your word choice. Finally, you will decide what you want to communicate. Okay, I don't know, I'm not able to move my slide with the... Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'll go through some other examples quickly. Just so I'm prepared, would it be possible to get an update from the hotel management on what action they have taken? Could you ask the hotel management what action they have taken so that I can be prepared? The word just is often minimizing. It can communicate that you are doubtful and hesitant, feel diffident within. So I feel we will achieve the target. Now you're not sure if you'll achieve the target. Can you make this sentence sound more confident? What are some options that you can come up with? So we will achieve the target is, okay, if you're 100% confident, we will achieve the target is fantastic. What if you are not 100% confident? Is there an option? Yeah. So I have an option here that says, I'm confident that we will achieve the target. That's fantastic. I think we will get a rating of 7 on 10. Is there a stronger version of this that someone can propose? So we might achieve the target as a weak statement. I don't recommend that if you want to sound powerful. Yeah, I'm positive we will achieve the target is great. I think we will get a rating of 7 on 10. Who wants to try an option for that? Okay, there seems to be a lag in my question and the answers that are coming in. I anticipate a rating of 7 on 10. I'm offering you options to think, feel, and believe. Use stronger verbs. I believe we will get a high return if we invest in spectrum technologies. And an option for that could be, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic, I anticipate, I recommend, I feel confident. All of these are options to very tentative phrases. I feel, I think, I believe. So that was about hedges. I moved to the second technique, which is called tags. A tag is a short question that we add to the end of a statement. This is the best proposal, isn't it? This is a great angle. Don't you think? He deserves an award, doesn't he? There are more examples of tags here, right? You see what I'm saying? Am I making sense? So what does a tag really do? It converts a statement, a clear statement on your part, into a question or a doubt. And it communicates to the other that you need reassurance, so it undermines your authority. So a simple technique to add power to your language is to drop the tags. It's just a clipping operation. And of course there are, so a tag is typically, so many times a tag is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you want to make a recommendation and you introduce a tag, then you're not making a recommendation anymore, you're seeking approval. So be aware of the difference and decide when you use a tag and when you don't. So fillers, fillers are really these empty words that don't add any value. So spot them and eliminate them. And unsure words, maybe, perhaps, possibly, I guess, I'll try. I can see many comments. I may not be able to respond to all the comments. If you want to make your question a little longer so I can understand it, then it will help me decide whether to respond to the question or not. So the third technique is choosing positive phrases over negative, because positive phrases communicate who you are, what you can do, rather than what you can't do. Until you pay your fines, you cannot use the library. A positive way of phrasing this would be, once you have paid your fines, you can use the library. Yeah, positive messages are well received, well remembered, and there is research that says positive messages are acted on more than negative messages. So if your goal is to influence people, positive phrasing will work better for you. I am not available until March 1st, versus you can reach me again from March 1st onwards. I'm not sure this is a good option. Who wants to try converting this into a positive phrase? I'm sure there are better options. There may be better options. Yeah. Why don't we try other options? Absolutely. Could you offer us an alternative, or can we try other options? Great. Now let me know if you experience any more problems with your lawnmower. Suppose you've just serviced your lawnmower, serviced someone's lawnmower, and you want to tell them, here it is, now it's working. Let me know if you experience any more problems. So you're actually introducing the idea that there could be more problems. So how do you stay positive without making a grandiose promise? Any ideas? Okay. Okay, so you are keeping it neutral, not using the word problem, which is, let us know if you need any support. We are happy to help. We are here if you need us. So you're avoiding the word problem, which is great. You can also sound confident about your service, yeah, which is your lawnmower should now give you many years of trouble-free service. Yeah. So we're sounding confident in our capacity to service something and not introducing an idea that there could potentially be a problem. Also, when you give bad news, a good strategy is to explain your positive intent. Why are you not able to help the other person? So there's a statement, we can't give you identification numbers on the phone, it's our policy. It's our policy can often sound like a hedge. It's something you hide behind because you don't want to give them the real reason. A more potent way a more authentic way of expressing yourself is, why do you have that policy? To protect the privacy of our customers, we don't give out identification numbers over the phone. Okay, so what we've done so far is looked at 3 techniques to make us sound more confident and more positive. I move now to how to make language more concise and precise. So here is a very lofty goal that I have expressed. Can you simplify it for me? So this is what a country would like. The country would like to launch the space leadership program and achieve competitive advantage by focusing on exploratory missions to the neighboring celestial bodies. What do you think the writer is trying to tell us? Anyone wants to take a shot? Let's land on the moon. Okay, I think when I bring this image down. Yeah, so it is put a man on the moon. Great, yeah. So wordiness. Wordiness takes away the power from our language. So use as many words as are necessary and no more. So these are a few academic exercises we are doing. She's a lady who's very ambitious. How would you tighten this? I think it's fairly straightforward. She is very ambitious. Yeah. The study required a total of 345 hours. the study required 345 hours. So you recognize that you can actually drop words in a sentence and it doesn't affect the meaning of the sentence in any way. Those are the words to chop. So sometimes we have complicated structures. So here it is, you're required to possess a permit to enter this park. The entry ticket is your permit, and you can buy an entry ticket at the gate. So I'm going to invite you to simplify, reconstruct these 3 sentences, make them concise. How would you do it? Yeah. Great. I think I have some great answers. To enter the park, buy a ticket at the gate. Yeah. So redundancies, that's, you will see this very common. There's a misconception that redundancy makes the language more emphatic. It actually takes away from it. Go through this list. And if you look at it clinically like this, you might find some of these quite hilarious. So I'm going to invite you all to share. Have you seen other redundancies? Now that you have a sample, would you like to add to this what you have heard people use in your experience and post it on chat here? Free gift, yes. Round circle, return back. I could possibly, yes, absolutely. I had breakfast in the morning. Each and every one, yeah. Fantastic. It's fully empty. Okay, great. Yeah, so avoid redundancies. That's the essence of this slide. Voice. So you all may be aware of how we can craft our sentences. There are 2 forms, active voice and passive voice. In passive voice, the action is done. And in active voice, the actor acts. Yeah, so, and if you look at these 2 sentences, the door was slammed by the angry teenager. So the action was done by the subject. Here, the second one, the angry teenager performs the action. The second one is shorter, direct, and carries a stronger punch. So where possible, use active. Actually, there are very specific areas where you would use passive when you want to focus on the action and not on the actor. Otherwise, the recommended form of writing is active. Passive is powerful, it's lengthy. We can get lost in a sentence that's constructed in a passive format. Yeah. So very straightforward guideline. Keep your sentences active. The next area that I'll talk about is the choice of words. How formal would you want your language to sound? And sometimes words can be stronger. They can add a shade of meaning or a shade of novelty to your sentence. But sometimes they are stale, they confuse the reader, and they're not adding value. So look at words that make another confused or take away from what the essence of the sentence is. Those are the words to drop. So this is a jargon-filled sentence. At this juncture, the aforementioned procedure should be utilized. How would you make this human, conversational? At this point, the above procedure should be utilized. Okay, so I have one option. Is there a way to simplify it further? This procedure is valid for now. We can use this method now. Fantastic, yeah? The plan that we discussed should be followed now or used now. We should commence operational capabilities in systematic increments. Anyone wants to try their hand here? Let's start working now. Well done. We should begin the project step by step. Yeah. Any comments when you see this slide about humanizing language and eliminating jargon? Because there's a very common misconception that the more pompous your language is, the more officious it is, the more important it sounds. Yeah. We will get back to you at our earliest convenience, versus give us till tomorrow to respond to you. Clearly more human, more reassuring to the listener. Any questions or comments on this? All right. Yeah. So that was about ways in which we can make sentences concise. As I said, these are not watertight. I'll now move to how to work with precision in a sentence. And when we make sentences precise, they usually also become tighter. So here's a vague sentence. The sum is a great deal bigger than I expected. And a great deal is your fuzzy word, which can be interpreted in any way. So if we were to make it concrete, we would say the sum is 50% bigger than I expected. The policy change will affect us adversely. Sometimes if we can replace the adjectives with phrases that help the reader with relevant details, the sentence becomes more concrete and it reduces the number of exchanges that are needed to get to the heart of an issue. The new policy on leave will decrease our sick days from 10 to 8 per year. So many flaky adjectives sometimes don't help the listener or a reader at all. So a descriptive phrase. So here it's lengthening your sentence, but this addition is not meaningless. It's actually making a difference and it's making communication faster, more effective. The voltage across a silicon diode is small, and a precise version of that would be the voltage across a silicon diode is about 0.7 volts. I have a comment here. Can we also not provide a timeline? In which one? The new policy on leave? Yeah, you can add information to it. Feel free to add things that you feel will make a difference to your reader. The idea is to use specifics and not vague terms. Yeah. So this is, can we not, so we were talking about earliest convenience. Yeah, I think there's a lag between the comments and my slides. So so I'm sorry, some of these I may not be able to respond to. So replacing empty words with relevant details. This is what I was saying in the earlier slide, like the word adversely. So here I have basically. So if you look at your vocabulary, or if you listen to people, there are many meaningless empty words like really, a lot, totally. So I failed the class for many reasons. So sometimes people say, I got lots from the session. It's very unclear and fuzzy to a listener. So what did you get from the session? Could you explain one insight in a specific term that would make it more specific? So for instance, a sentence, I basically failed the class for many reasons. To make it concrete, I failed my introduction to business class because I didn't turn in any homework and I left early every day. So it tells you clearly why he was failed, and you'd probably agree with the decision. There are also universal adjectives like awesome and fantastic and wonderful that don't communicate too much to the recipient. So the movie was awesome, The actors in The Great Gatsby gave believable performances. Costumes were exquisitely made, more specific, understandable. So when we become more precise, we also make, so there's a question here. Is the aim to help eliminate the need for the listener to have to ask questions? The answer is yes. Because vague words are very confusing and frustrating for the listener. The movie was awesome, is very conversational and provokes response. So if you want to keep it conversational and want to engage in a dialogue about it, you want to invite questions, that's fine. So these are all choices. So look at when the listener is expecting more. So in a casual conversation, the listener may not be expecting more than that and may be willing to engage in a conversation. But in an email exchange, or when a person is expecting to get to a specific, a use of a vague adjective can be distracting, and it delays getting to the root of the issue. So it was a really good day. Really good is a weak adjective. Nice is another weak adjective. Bad is another weak adjective. If you can really use words that create pictures and tell the listener how you experience something. Yeah. So was it a really good day? So what was really good? Was it productive, lucky, restful? What was it? These words are more vivid than really good day. And again, we have a whole set of descriptions that can replace nice, a lot more powerful and exciting for the listener. So there are words like thing, it, that introduce vagueness to your sentence, to your language. The article said many things. It doesn't leave the reader with anything. The article spoke about the principles of interactive design, much clearer. I'm trying to strengthen my writing with things that sound better to an audience. Versus I'm trying to strengthen my writing by gearing my style towards the target audience, more specific. The thing that makes motherhood rewarding is versus motherhood is rewarding because. Yeah? So watch out for phrases like thing, it. And then one of the key things to look for really is the verbs. And a metaphor that's commonly used to describe the power of verbs is if your sentence was a car, then the verb is an engine. And if you really want to change the power of your sentence, you work with the verbs and you don't work with the adjectives and the adverbs and the pronouns, etc. You work with the verbs. And here are more powerful verb choices. So the ones in the bold are the commonplace ones, and the list below is the alternatives. So choose verbs that are more powerful, carry more horsepower. So here are some weak versus strong presentations, and look at the difference. Radha is a trainer versus Radha designs and leads training programs. Yeah, so the verb form to be makes your sentences weak. Replace it with the actual verb itself, and I'm going to talk more about the verb form to be in a few minutes. So Radha is a weak one. Like we have another one which is Neha is in the symphony orchestra. It's a weak form versus Neha plays second chair violin in the Los Angeles Philharmonic. So it's very clear and a lot more powerful. It's not easy to forget this. It's much easier to forget the sentences in the first column. Look at the second one. I helped grow the team. The use of the word helped immediately puts you in a position of a subordinate. Choose an alternate verb. You may have helped, but how did you help? I coached 5 members to expand their roles. Sounds a lot more powerful and impressive than I helped grow the team. Alex made the performance better. More specific, Alex restructured the process to double the performance. So see if your sentences are weak in their structure and if they can be recast by choosing different words, by words that allow a picture to be painted, it makes your sentences stronger. Another thing to look out for is your verb hidden. So nominalization is the process of converting verbs into nouns. Like, let's solve this problem becomes, let's find the solution. Let's manage this program becomes, we are responsible for the management of this program. So verbs become nouns. We analyze data. We conduct an analysis of the data. So clearly the second one makes the sentence long-winded. It reduces the analyze, manage, resolve are more powerful than finding a resolution, being responsible for management and conducting an analysis. They are shorter and they pack a stronger punch. So I have two more examples here. We need an agency to carry out a review of the agent. We need to carry out a review of the agency's accounts so that we can gain an understanding of the reason the error occurred. We need to review the agency's account so we understand the reason the error occurred. So it's shorter, it's simpler, and it's clearer. Yeah, so that's what we call finding hidden verbs and using verbs and not converting verbs into nouns. So I spoke to you about the excessive use of the word form to be. So these are the verb forms: to be, is, am, are, was, were, been. If you are using these excessively, it means you are not really using the power of your vocabulary. So look at this sentence. Muggs is a dog and Muggs is a fussy eater. So that's using the verb form to be. Yeah, Muggs is a fussy eater. So the verb is weak, even though we have an adjective which is fussy. Now if we replace the verb, as I said, the verb is the engine of your sentence, the powerhouse. The second form, Muggs splatters his food all over the vase. Splatters is a more vivid verb. It's a stronger verb. It creates an image in the minds of the reader. Certainly a more powerful sentence to work with than Muggs is a fussy eater. So if you were to, most people would say, if you want to make Muggs is a fussy eater stronger, so let's add Muggs is a very fussy eater, or Muggs is definitely a fussy eater. But all those would be weaker than Muggs splatters his food all over the wall. So if we can play with our verbs, slobber, sprays, drool, slings, each of these has a flavor, it creates imagery, makes your sentences more vivid. So here we move to creating images. If our words can create images in the minds of the reader, we are communicating powerfully. She was hungry versus her stomach rumbled. It was a dark, dreary day in the city versus fog entered the city, making it dark and dreary. She drove quickly. So replacing drove quickly with she raced across. It creates a different image. The last one, I need to slip out for a moment. She said softly versus she whispered. So use verbs with verb. Use verbs that are vivid. Use verbs that create images. Engage a listener's senses. Yeah, so use sensory terms. Colors, textures, temperature, tastes. Describe the visual. Yeah, the sunset was beautiful versus the sunset glowed with orange light. She enjoyed the roll. She enjoyed the hot, buttery roll, baked golden brown and fresh from the oven. Very delicious to listen to. This sweater is so uncomfortable versus this itchy sweater is giving me a rash. Yeah. So these are the 10 techniques. So let me see if you can, without the presentation, recollect the 10 techniques. I'm going to invite you. Okay, there's a question. Can using imagery also be considered for formal written communication? Absolutely. Absolutely. Storytelling is such a powerful part of business communication now. And using analogies, using metaphors, all of these are building on the techniques of creating imagery for your listeners. She enjoyed is a crisp sentence, but the second one is a little elaborate. So the rule for brevity or the rule for conciseness is you drop the words that add no value to a sentence. If a word is adding value to a sentence, then it's not redundant. Yeah, so the idea is not to concise is one way of making language powerful. Making language vivid and engaging another's senses is another and very important way of making language powerful. So I'm done with my content here. So I'm going to invite you to remember the 10 techniques so that it serves like a summary for the day today. I spoke about 10 ways, which is 5 things to eliminate and 5 things to include. So some of you have been really active. I've seen you all very active on chat. So I'm hoping that you will remember the 10 techniques and put it out there. So it serves as a summary for the group. I'm going to give it a minute. Remove hedges, yes. That's one. Reduce wordiness, wonderful. Remove tags, that's great. Fillers, yeah, fillers, I had put that as part of the hedges. Avoid jargons, avoid nominalization, use active voice, include sensory details, choose positive phrases, use simple sentences. Yeah, qualify your adjectives or give details, use specifics, use strong verbs. Fantastic. I think you've been a great class, very, very active on the chat group. I'm happy to answer questions. Okay, so Professor is very impressed with how keenly you've listened. That's fantastic. So how can we practice these? It's awareness, intentionality. So I'm going to, how do we write good case studies, I would say is not in the scope of this session. So what needs to be avoided in a formal mail? I think what we spoke about, eliminating redundancies, hedges, filler words, negative phrases, nominalization, all of these, whatever I've spoken about is applicable in formal communication. I might say you can be a lot more relaxed in informal communication. But being mindful about power is directly relevant to formal communication. There's a question. Let me get this question. Yeah. So, isn't it safer to use jargons? Yeah, I mean, what is your goal? If your goal is to be safe, how would it make you safer? Yeah, it might sound more polite. See, the idea in powerful communication is you shouldn't hesitate to be bold. If people can sense that you want to be safe, then they can sense your fear, and that's already reducing your power. What is your opinion on the role of euphemisms? So if euphemisms can make things sound less harsh, I think it is fine. If you have to look at, is it helping the communication or is it taking away from being direct? So it's a choice that you need to make. So vivid versus concise, is there a trade-off? Yes, when you make your language vivid, you may increase the number of words that you use, but you may not. But I wouldn't necessarily call that verbose, because verbose is words that add no value. If in the process of making your language vivid, you add details, you add imagery, you engage the senses, but you use just as many words as necessary to do that, you're still concise. So I see another question. I'm having a productive day versus I'm having a good day. In the second instance, are we leaving it to the reader to imagine whatever is good for him or her? Yes, we are. So we are making it very unclear. I would recommend I am having a productive day because it's very clear why you say you had a good day. So there's a question about books or web links. I think you just key in powerful language and you will be flooded with information online. It's a topic of great interest to everybody. You can key in powerful language, precise language, concise language, and you'll get worksheets and exercises and guidelines. I think this is a topic where information is abundant. Difference in communication techniques between one-way communication. I again don't see it relevant to the agenda that we are. I think you just have to anticipate the reader's needs, and it will invite a lot more specificity because there isn't a space for the other person to ask questions. So you need to anticipate what the reader really wants and build it into your communication. Yeah, open-ended questions are great. So avoiding jargons and hedges, how well does it work on a cold call? See, you have to look at is the jargon building a connection? If the jargon is communicating that you both are from the same industry and it gives you a base to relate to another, go right ahead and use the jargon. But if the jargon is creating confusion and making you hide behind the jargon, if it sounds very commonplace, something that everyone throws around and the listener doesn't have a way to assess what you really know, then you don't use it even on a cold call. I don't recommend jargons, and hedges, of course, are not taking it's a very tentative position you're taking. People can't trust those who don't have faith in their own convictions. I think I've shared plenty of examples. Look, you get your antennae up for jargons and hedges and you will find them in everyday conversations. You don't need more examples from me. You just need to know what it is. Can I send the slides? Is that an expectation?
Yeah, they have the recording on the side.
Yeah, so you will have the recording and the slides are there. So we are not going to email the PPT separately, but you have access to this information. Okay. Is this a good place to close then? Thank you, everybody. It was a new format for me and I was a little apprehensive about how it would go, but your enthusiastic participation was very validating. I hope it was useful and you all go back and impress the world with your powerful language and impact every person you meet. Thank you. Good day.